Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com. Welcome to the Gospel Road. Luke 12 is what we are going to look at today. It says, "In the meantime, when so many thousands of people had gathered together that they were trampling one another, he began to say to his disciples first, 'Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Nothing is covered up that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have said in the dark shall be heard in the light, and what you have whispered in private rooms shall be proclaimed on the housetops. I tell you this, my friends, do not fear those who kill the body, and after that have nothing more they can do. But I will warn you whom to fear. Fear him who, after he is killed, has authority to cast into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies? And not one of them is forgotten before God. Why, even the hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, you are more value than many sparrows. And I tell you, everyone who acknowledges me before men, the Son of Man also will acknowledge before the angels of God. But the one who denies me before men will be denied before the angels of God. And everyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but the one who blasphemes against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven. And when they bring you before the synagogues and the rulers and the authorities, do not be anxious about how you should defend yourself or what you should say. For the Holy Spirit will teach you in that very hour what you ought to say." Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Man, who made me a judge or arbitrator over you?" And he said to them, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." And he told them a parable, saying, "The land of a rich man produced plentifully, and he thought to himself, 'What shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops.' And he said, 'I will do this. I will tear down my barn and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have ample goods laid for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry.' But God said to him, 'Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God.' And he said to his disciples, 'Therefore, I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat, nor about your body, what you put on. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothing. Consider the ravens. They have nothing, they have neither sow nor reap. They have neither storehouse nor barn, and yet God feeds them. Or how much more value are you than the birds? And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his span of life? If then you are not able to do as small as a thing as that, why are you anxious about the rest? Consider the lilies, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass, which is alive in the field today, and tomorrow is thrown into an oven, how much more will he clothe you, O you of little faith? And do not seek what you are to eat and what you are to drink. nor be worried. For all the nations of the world seek after these things, and your Father knows that you need them. Instead, seek his kingdom, and these things will be added to you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the needy. Provide yourselves with money bags that do not grow old, with a treasure in the heavens that does not fail, where no thief approaches and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, your heart will be also. Stay dressed for action, and keep your lamps burning, and be like men who are waiting for their master to come home from the wedding feast, so that they may open the door to him at once when he comes and knocks. Blessed are those servants whom the master finds awake when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will dress himself for service, and have them recline at table. And he will come and serve them. If he comes in the second watch, or in the third, and finds them awake, blessed are those servants. But know this, that if the master of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have left his house to be broken into. You must also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Peter said, Lord, are you telling this parable for us or for all? And the Lord said, Who then is the faithful and wise manager, whom is the master will set over his household, to give them their portion of food at the proper time? Blessed is that servant, whom his master will find so doing when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. But if that servant says to him, Master, my master is delayed in coming, and begins to beat the male and female servants, and to eat and drink and get drunk, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he does not know, and will cut him into pieces, and put him with the unfaithful. And that servant who knew his master but did not get ready or act according to his will will receive a severe beating. But the one who did not know and did what deserved a beating will receive a light beating. Every one to whom much was given, of him much will be required. And from him to whom they entrusted much, they will demand the more. I came to cast fire on the earth, and would that it were already kindled. I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how great is my distress upon it is accomplished. Do you think that I have come to give peace on earth? No, I tell you, but rather division. For from now on, in one house, there will be 5 divided, 3 against 2, 2 against 3. There will be divided father against son, son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. He also said to the crowds, When you see a cloud rising in the west, you say at once, a shower is coming, and so it happens. And when you see the south wind blowing, you say, there will be a scorching heat, and it happens. You hypocrites, you know how to interrupt the appearance of earth and sky, but why do you not know how to interpret the present time? And why do you not judge yourselves what is right? As you go with your accuser before the magistrate, make an effort to settle with him on his way, lest he drag you to the judge, and the judge hand you over to the officer, and the officer put you in prison. I tell you, you will never get out until you have paid the very last penny. Luke 12. Lots of pieces in here that you can really look at and glean from to choose to decide. And as I always say, read it. What does it say to you? Study it. How does it help you personally, professionally, spiritually? A lot of pieces in here that really helps you in many ways. Being anxious. How many times are we so anxious of what's going to happen? I know I have that issue all the time. Many times I worry about tomorrow or next week, where I need to be focused on today. I fail there. We all do. Most of us do. I say we all, but I should never say we all because, maybe there's some that are better than others. I do know some people that really have no concept and really have no care about tomorrow. It kind of is what it is. But we have to work with that anxious piece of ourselves to be really careful, because sometimes we can be so focused on tomorrow that we miss something that needs to be done today for work, for home. There's balls that I drop. It happens. Not perfect. As Mac Davis says, "Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way." Well, A, it's hard to be humble, and B, I'm not perfect in every way. But not being concerned about what is going to happen tomorrow really, as Jeremy Camp says, keep me in the moment. Keep me in what is happening now. Keep me in what I need to do now, today. Yes, there's going to be some things that we need to work on that it's going to take time, but it's those steps that we work through to get that done, because it's not going to get taken care of now. And if your hands are tied, now I'm dealing with some pieces at my job that I'm not going to get taken care of today. It frustrates me to just insaneness, nonsense. But there's things that I can't control. I'm not able to control. And I have to try and hold that anxiousness back. Because as we are trying to do our best to not be anxious about tomorrow, focusing on what needs to be done today, at that same time, we're prepared to what needs to be done. Also in Luke 12, talking about your master, your boss coming in. Are you getting your job done today, or are you too busy working on tomorrow, next month? I have conversations with people, and they're having that thought, focusing on that 3 and 5 year plan, but not focusing on today, what needs to be done today. In Luke 12, it talks about interpreting the present time. Now, yes, it's talking about the spiritual interpretation. Jesus is going to come back at any time. But there's something to be learned about that, thought about, of knowing what that time is, interpreting that time. Staying in the present. Again, you need to be, and I've heard this a lot, being in radio over the years, we use this term, brilliant at the basics. There are times you need to be brilliant at the basics before you look at expanding. Your company needs to be brilliant at what you do, where you're doing it, before you move into that next step of expansion. Because if you do not, you've heard this, you get the cart before the horse. And then how you all of a sudden get so big, you end up failing. We need to be cautious. We need to be aware of what's going on. We need to be ready. I'll be honest, I fail at readiness because my mind is going in so many circles days that I'm overwhelmed, and somebody asks me a question. But again, sometimes I ask you this off-the-wall question because saying, there's no way I can have an answer for that question right here and now. There needs to be research. There needs to be thought behind that question. But either way, you need to be ready to at least have an idea or have a way to, have an answer, rebuttal to that. You know, the Bible talks about, when it comes to faith, having that quiet and gentle answer. Well, there's some interesting pieces that you can use that to, because if somebody doesn't agree with you and you're having a conversation when it comes to at work, when it comes to how you believe in your political beliefs, how you're having a conversation at home with your family because, you know, somebody's doing something wrong, have a quiet and gentle answer. Be respectful. Have a conversation. It's not pointing fingers. It's not screaming. It's not yelling. It's having that conversation with them to help them to be better. You may never agree, but you're being an adult and respecting each other's thoughts and beliefs. We miss that a lot as we see the world today. You look at politics, you look at social issues, but people are not able to have a conversation. They're not able to tolerate someone who does not agree with them. Someone is going to have their philosophy, their thoughts, their beliefs, their ideas. And you need to be okay with that. I have to be okay with that. Because only they can come to those answers themselves. If they're willing and ready to choose and decide, to think differently, to act differently, to be different. Luke 12. That's what we looked at today. Again, read that. How does it help you? Personally, professionally, spiritually, you know, building your body, mind, and soul. Learning every day. Thank you for listening to The Gospel Road. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends. You can always subscribe to this episode through Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you know, where you listen to your favorite podcast, whatever platform that may be. Now, you can also subscribe to my YouTube page, find this podcast and other podcasts that I do, which is My Buddy Jimmy 101. You can also follow along on my webpage, which is mybuddyjimmy.com. But thank you for listening to The Gospel Road. Have a great day. God bless.